thank you very much for joining us. I'm Peter Holland. I'm the host for this session of the Scottish Rum Festival, and we have today with us Brass Neck Rum. Please, chaps, you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about, about yourselves and about the rum and everything else.
Sure, yeah. I'm Freddie and this is Chris. We are half of the team of Brass Neck Rum. There's four of us. We launched Brass Neck just before Christmas last year. So we went through kind of numerous delays with the pandemic, and it was a bit of a slog towards the end, but we got there just before Christmas, and it's been good so far. Brass Neck is spiced rum with a difference. It's distilled in Scotland, and it's infused. It's a pot distilled rum, beautifully smooth pot distilled rum to start with, and then it's infused with a kind of range of international and Scottish botanicals, some ones that are quite out there, quite different. Somebody described it as a combination of local and loco, which I liked. So I don't know if you want to have a taste just now, or we want to.
Yeah, so I've been holding on deliberately because not to try and make that kind of like.
I'm gonna pour us one.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, that's okay, Peter.
So we got. We were talking before, like tonka bean. That is definitely front and center.
Yeah, so on the nose, you can really get the tonka bean, and tonka bean, for those that don't know, it's kind of really kind of complex botanical. It's got kind of notes of cinnamon, almond, cherry, nutmeg. It's a kind of a really kind of complex flavor profile, which comes through quite a lot, and you get a lot of citrus in the beginning as well. To taste, I think it starts off quite smooth. You've got kind of sweet butterscotch, kind of caramel, some kind of spiced fruit in there. You can get some sort of vanilla coming through, and then towards the end, you get kind of subtle, kind of earthy tones which come from the nettles and the milk thistle, the Scottish botanicals in there.
So this is the bit that's really obvious for me, and this is the bit I always kind of look out for, because you say this is a rum you're making from first principles here in Scotland, and that pot still note is there. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of character, a lot of the botanicals, but I can definitely taste the pot still in there as well. Yeah, really good. So you mentioned that. So you got tonka bean. I don't think is a Scottish botanical.
It's not. That's one of the local ones, not the local ones.
But you have local Scottish botanicals as well.
Yeah. All the milk thistle and the nettles are sourced from Scotland.
And that ties back to our brands. Our brands all been Scottish. It's all been different as well, and we appreciate that. The rum's not supposed to be made in Scotland. I know there's a lot of rums in Scotland, which is fantastic, if you like, and that's Brass Neck to everyone for doing that. Yeah. And that's why we utilise the kind of natural ingredients that are here. So we looked at milk thistle, we looked at nettles, we tried so many different ingredients to get that perfect blend. And we wanted to get the kind of dairying aspect and the bold aspect of the brand across. And I think by you just smelling that, Peter, and tasting it, I think that's coming across as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's I say it's I like it when there's two ways of approaching, I think, a botanical rum. Are you calling it a botanical rum?
Yeah, we say spicy botanical. You're fine, yeah.
And it's whether you make the rum the first flavour point and then you build on top of that, or whether you treat the spirit as a completely neutral base. In this case, it's obvious it's there. Now, you guys don't actually distill yourselves. You haven't got a distill.
No, it's distilled up in Perth, Strathern Distillery, which I believe is where a couple of other rums on this festival started out. We worked with Zach, the chief distiller, to kind of develop our recipe, and we kind of told him our vision. We told him the kind of things that we wanted it to taste like and the kind of ones that we liked, and then we went through this list of botanicals. There was we had like bee pollen was one of them, carob powder, we had cardamom, and saffron was in there, which ended up tasting a little bit like a curry, so we put that one aside. But we went through this really long kind of process of trying loads of different combinations of flavors, and then eventually we kind of fine-tuned it and perfected it, and we're just so happy with the results. So
why go to the bother of making a rum? Especially, I mean, obviously didn't know that the pandemic was just around the corner.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we started out a bit earlier, but it was one of these ones where there was the three of us, there's four in the team. It started with the three, and we were just having a couple of drinks in a pub. We're kind of friends through family and work, and we talked about how much we loved rums, our favourite ones, and there wasn't many Scottish rums in the market at the time. And one of these ones, we usually wake up in the morning and the dream is dead. But for some reason, we kept the dream alive, and we just kept pushing it. And we looked at different ways to do it. We looked at making it ourselves, but there was too many hoops to jump through, I think, to do that immediately. And yeah, it just.
I think there's also an aspect where you look at who the experts are as well. If you want to learn off these people, it's all about collaboration as well. So I'm in branding, Freddie's in marketing and advertising and all that kind of stuff, which is fantastic. And you bring in the experts in that area. So when we looked at Straka and we spoke to Zach, our ideas, what we wanted, and what Zach brought to the table, they complemented one another.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I bet obviously, as you say, you can get off the ground so much quicker
Yeah, exactly.
with someone rather than build your own distillery, which is, let's face it, I mean, like, you know, if this the product takes off the way we all hope, then you might decide to invest yourself and lay down that distillery. But until then, it's easy to work with people, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like, so it's just literally just a crazy idea. Let's make a rum.
Pretty much, yeah. That's all we can really describe it as. But it's been fun, isn't it?
Well, it's been an experience as well, because you have the idea and then you decide to go on a rum tasting festival, which is fantastic. So the amount of rums we've tried,
The experience.
the experience, we went to so
the
many.
research we were doing.
Honestly, it's a great experience as well, and that's when you get to bond even more, because you get to understand your palates as well, and you get to understand what you like and what you don't like. And the good thing about Scotland is there is a lot of successful rum companies out there as well, and you're looking at what we can do to be different as well. You don't want to complement one and be the same. You want to stand out and be different, like the brand is.
Yeah. So I mean, the fact that it's actually distilled in Scotland, well, there's no issues calling yourself a Scottish rum, but you're doing more than that. You want to kind of to really double down and
exactly.
and represent the country, as it were.
Yeah.
But that's why it was so important looking at the ingredients as well and partnering up with these companies, because we tried so many unusual ones, like Freddie was saying, and some of them work and some of them don't work. But that's the idea. If we want to be proud of what we do here in Scotland, I mean, there's so much heritage here as well, and that's where we look at even the photography we've used as well, and a lot of the video stuff. It's all bringing that out, and we're using local artists as well to create the illustrations. So it's all about trying to be as local as possible.
Yeah. So the label that we've got it features the kind of brass neck fox in the label. And it's got this breaking brass neck chain, and it kind of symbolizes the fox's freedom to roam where it wants. So you often see foxes in the kind of urban environment that have come from this natural world into the city. They're not really supposed to be there, but they don't really care, which is kind of like the way that, you're not really supposed to make rum in Scotland. It's supposed to be a Caribbean spirit, but we don't really care. We're going to do it anyway. So that's the kind of story.
Well, and that's one of the stories that Dougie told on the business partners. He said he was sitting in Edinburgh one day having a cup of tea or coffee outside, and along came a fox just walking brazenly along the street. And all of a sudden, that idea came off the pub, and we just loved that, and that became the kind of archetype of the brand. Yeah.
And we just kind of told that story to a tattoo artist that designed the label, and immediately he just produced this amazing work of art. And obviously, the most important thing of a rum is what's in the bottle, but I think the outside of the bottle is equally important, because it's what attracts people to buy it in the first place. And we kind of wanted to have this work of art that people can hold and happily display and things like that. And I think we've got that.
That's really cool. So, I mean, you might tell by my accent, but I'm not from Scotland. So brass neck, maybe just in case there is anyone watching this later on outside of, it feels like that's a Scottish term.
Yeah, I think I did see that somebody else from Yorkshire claimed that it was a Yorkshire term, but it's definitely recognised in Scotland. So to have a brass neck is to be a bit daring, to be a bit adventurous, not having too much regard for the consequences, I suppose. But yeah, it's just being a bit kind of brazen, a bit daring, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's to be adventurous in what you're doing as well, and it's to also celebrate the people who are the free thinkers of the world, that want to push themselves and want to try things that are different as well, and don't want to conform. And that's why, again, you go back to the fox, the architect. So that's the fox coming from the kind of country environment into the urban world as well, and owning that world. And that's what we like, the embodiness and the confidence of that fox. And that's what the brand represents as well.
Very cool. I have to say, I like the idea of a tattoo artist coming up with it as well. Has anyone taken and got the ink actually on that?
I was tempted. I was thinking if I really like it, then I might get a tattoo. I haven't done it yet.
Maybe that's an initiation if anyone wants to join the business to get a tattoo of the fox.
Maybe next year's festival will just be a live stream of me getting the tattoo like that.
That'd be amazing. That'd be so cool. So, I mean, you were developing it, you're running through different things, but how are you planning on people drinking it? I mean, is this a straight up or cocktail?
Yeah, well, rum itself is obviously very versatile. We wanted it to be rum that was good enough to drink on its own, and that was really important. But we've tried it in so many different cocktails. If you have a look at our Instagram page, we're constantly putting out new cocktail ideas. The watermelon mojito has been a real hit. Even I didn't know you could drink rum and tonic. So a brass neck and elderflower tonic is unbelievable. Put some sliced fruit in there. It's really good. So we don't want to kind of say this is how you drink it. I think one of the best things about rum and spirits in general is you can drink it however you like it. So it's best enjoyed however you like it, really.
And I think that's why it was important we were doing the tasting sessions at different types. You're trying it with ginger beer, you're trying it with Coca-Cola and other Cokes as well that are out there. We tried it with apple juice, we tried it just neat as well. So you've got to try it, it's got to be as versatile as possible for people who want to drink it.
Well, to be fair, the measure's gone quite easily.
Good.
I'll get around to stretching it with something, I'm sure. Obviously, the last year and a half's not been that easy in terms of bars being open to kind of work with things. But is it a product that's out there? Can we find it on back bars around Scotland and beyond?
Yeah. So the good thing is we're with a wholesaler at the moment. So obviously you sell it to the wholesaler and they sell it to whoever they want. So it's nice to be surprised in seeing brass neck in the odd pub and shops around the country that you don't expect to see it. So you can get it directly through the website. You can get it on Master of Malt, and there's a load of different retailers kind of spotted about the country that you can pop in and get it from.
Very cool. So just remind us, for those listening, I'm sure there'll be a link to the website, and hopefully the tech people can put a little thing over it. But
we'll have a discount and everything for everyone that's attending the festival.
Oh, fantastic! Even better. So what's the future kind of hold? Do you think then? Now I mean we're just get out and enjoy yourself, Laura.
Yeah, I think I don't want to go and say we're going to make some more products and we're going to do this and we're doing this. We're just having fun with it, really, aren't we? And we're very much at the early stages. We only launched in December, so we're only kind of 6 months into it. I don't know. I think we're going to keep having fun with it and seeing where it goes and try and grow it and try and get it into more customers, I think is the main goal.
I think what's amazing is you mentioned the pandemic. So 6 months has been out, but it's taken us so long to get to this point, given all the kind of roadblocks around the issues we have, not even just distilling the product, it was more around actually getting the product to market because of the pandemic. We wanted to try and launch it in bars and pubs as much as possible, but at the moment we want to try and keep this brand as strong as possible and grow it as well as possible as well, because it is a premium rum as well. We appreciate that, so we want to keep it as strong as possible, and then once it's at that point, then we'll make a decision whether or not we actually diversify and create more products.
So I think the secret is to sell an absolute ton of it and then expand the range afterwards. But no, it's very cool. I have to say I did you got a bottle there to hand. I wish I had a bottle. I can see that's labeled up close, but it's actually a beautiful work of art in its own right, and it's one of those things where you've got to catch people's eye and attention. This really is attention grabbing, I think. Look at that. Nice detail with the metallic on the label as well.
Well, and obviously the neck of the bottle is brass as well.
So brass foil running through. I mean, again, that's part of the joy of doing this as well. It's going through that productions experts where you're going to say, this is what I'd like. I like to have the foil, I like to have a tangible paper as well, so it feels quality as well. And then selecting the bottle takes a bit of time, as everyone knows as well, but it's all those little minor nuances that make the big differences.
So what's your rummy backgrounds? I mean, like, you're going to tell us you're rum drinkers from an early age kind of thing, or?
We met through work, Chris and I. Chris was in marketing. I was working in like a compliance role, so we don't have any industry experience. We just loved rum, and that's all it was. And I think the naivety of not having kind of industry experience has kind of got us to where we are. So we've just done it. We've just taken that brass neck approach and just kind of built something and ran with it. So yeah, we don't have a background in distillation or even hospitality or anything like that, but maybe you don't need it.
But you're fans of rum in general as well.
Exactly.
But again, that's when you look at the collaborations, you look at bringing those experts in, because you don't want to create a product that's going to not hit the mark. So that's why we brought in those experts. And again, what I would say about rum, I was a fan of rum, but see, since I've started this project, I'm a massive fan of rum. The amount of rums we've tried, it's been an expensive project at the same time, but it's been glorious as well.
Yeah.
How do you normally drink the rum yourselves? I mean, do you drink it neat, or you're a mixer kind of person?
I'm just couple of ice cubes, squeeze a lime. Usually, I do like the odd cocktail. But yeah, I don't tend to mix it so much these days. But yeah,
my journey's been quite different. I used to have a lot of Coke, and now the Coke is getting less and less and less. And now I actually prefer it neat as well, with a bit of ice. So it's a strange one as well. So my palate's definitely changed.
Well, I was going to say, to be honest, I mean, I think the way that people develop and the way they drink it actually tells. when I tried that, I kind of realised that you drink a lot of neat rum because it drinks very nicely on its Todd.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to stretch it. You know, there's a little sort of gentle sweetness to it, but it's not over cloying or anything. I can imagine, say, like a big chunk of ice or whatever. It's quite cool. So yeah. So what I mean, the Scottish rum scene. I mean, you said you didn't think there was a lot about when you were sort of planning to start.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh, it feels like an absolute explosion of brands. So how do you see it?
I mean, even since the last Scottish Rum Festival, it's doubled, isn't it, in terms of the samples that customers have that are attending. It's nothing but a good thing, I don't think. I mean, the more people, the better. It's testament to how the way the industry is going and how many people are actually, starting to enjoy the spirit. And yeah, the more the better. I think it's brilliant. And I think because Scotland have this such strong distillation heritage through whiskey and if the Americans talk about the Scotch, and it's almost like a brand. If it's from Scotland, it's good. So it surprised me that it's taken this long for rum to really cement itself in the market, or Scottish rum to really cement itself in the market. So yeah, I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah, and competition's healthy as well. Healthy competition's fantastic, especially given the pandemic. We're all about supporting each other as well. And I think ever so more that you need more businesses in Scotland to shine and show what they can do. Because if we can export this eventually and become that kind of global brand that we want to be, that'd be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And there's a huge amount of camaraderie in the industry as well. Everyone's happy to talk to each other. We've been to visit Kit and Ninefold and spoken to other brands. And yeah, it just seems I like how there's a bit of a togetherness rather than this unhealthy competition.
Do you think it's the notion of Scottish rum is something that's got to be sort of protected or kind of ring fenced in kind of the sense of, what I mean, you've got no issues claiming the product you make. It's made in Scotland. You can't get any more Scottish than that. But but there are there limits, or are there terms that maybe should be applied, or maybe it's not fair to use. If you don't do X, you can't say Y. That kind of, where are you at on that?
Personally, I don't. I mean, I think rules that should apply to rum should apply to every product, as long as you're not pulling the wool over customers' eyes. If you say it's from Scotland, it's got to be from Scotland. If you are Scottish rum, but it's imported from elsewhere, as long as you're calling that out, I don't have a problem with it personally. As long as your customer knows where it's come from.
It's authenticity. So if a customer buys something and eventually find out it's going to be false, they're not going to come back to you. So, I mean, you want to create a product that's as good as possible and as authentic as possible, so they'll keep coming back for more. So, and unfortunately, if you do pull the wool over customers' eyes, like Freddie's saying, they won't come back at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair and valid comment. It's hard enough to sell the first bottle, but you got to make sure you sell the second to them as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, that's pretty awesome. I mean, I'll be excited to see if you do kind of stretch out and go beyond botanical, whether you start going into sort of like just sort of regular aged or unaged rums as well. That'd be an interesting move. I guess you just have to see how far you can stick your brass neck out in that one.
Exactly. That's right.
But, yeah. Cool. Well, I think we covered great a lot there. That really is good. So remind us, please, of the best places to get the information.
www.brassneckrum.co.uk. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, which is just brassneckrum @brassneckrum. And that's it, really.
Yeah.
And if people reach out via the social media, are they going to get you, or are they going to get a social media company?
You're going to get me.
Perfect. So there you go. So if you're listening to it, people can email in or message on it and get hold of the main manager self.
That's it.
Perfect. Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time. I think we've covered a lot there. I'm excited to see where this one goes, and looking forward to trying another top of it as well in due course. So
Thanks very much for speaking to us.
Thanks very much. Talk soon.
cheers.